Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 2 of the F1 career mode here on F1 2019. As you can see, we've jumped back a bit so you can see what team I actually selected for my F1 career. As you probably saw from the last episode, I chose Mercedes as my rookie light sort of team. We're just going to jump into it and see what team I selected.
Welcome. Come on in. Take a seat. It's time we had the big conversation about your next move. Your performance at the F2 Championships last year got you a lot of attention from the Formula One teams. Some of it more positive than others. I'm not so concerned with who does or doesn't like you. You'll have plenty of time to win the doubt is over. But I am concerned with our choices. They're narrowing as we haven't shown commitment to anyone. Now, as your agent, my advice is to make your decision now. We can worry about comfort and finer points further down the line. I need you to review these. You've earned every single one of these proposals. So take your time, have a read through, and don't get too hung up on specifics. Let's get you a Formula One seat.
So as you can see here, we're going to select our team. As you can see, I select Mercedes Driver Academy. We are going to be racing for Racing Point this season, hopefully for the next couple of seasons, and try and win the championship with Racing Point. As you can see here, I select the team and I accept the contract. We're second driver, we'll finish 12th, and see if we can
Excellent
keep
choice.
that up.
From my conversations with them, they're going to be very excited to pursue this opportunity with you. I'll let them know our intentions immediately. I'll have to clean up some final details with them, but that's what you pay me for. Other than that, congratulations. You've earned it.
Oh, hey, you're here. I'll catch up with you. Sorry, I'm just on my way out, but your workstation's at the back over there. It should be all set up on the network, but let the guys know if it isn't. From there, you can access all the data you need to help us direct development of the car. Get yourself settled, and then head out to practice when you're ready. I'll catch up with you later, okay?
As you can see, it's pretty much the same as F1 2018 there.
Racing Point are building themselves up to be a very real force to be reckoned with. They're ambitious and resourceful, and they'll expect you to be the same.
So we're going to just jump into a bit of practice here, as you can see. Losing the car a bit there. Just trying to push the car, trying to do some of the R&D programs, and I hit the wall.
That looked bad. Are you alright?
I didn't do a very good job there, as you could quite easily tell. But I use a flashback because I'm trying to complete as many of these practice programs as we can. I try not to use them in the race, but in practice I don't see the problem. So lose the back end again a little bit there, lose a lot of time to the Delta. Pushing the car as much as I can, clip the wall, come through here, just trying to push the car off the corner, just trying to get the best exit I can. I dropped down a few too many gears there, going a bit too slow. Lose the back end again with a tank slapper. Come through this corner, go a bit too wide, get on the curb nearly spins us out. Just try to push as hard as I can. I know I'm down on the Delta as I lose the back end of the car. So as you can see in practice, I wasn't doing too well. Here's how it lines up. As you can see, Butler is racing for Haas and Weber is racing for McLaren. So there are two rivals along with our teammate. Just gonna look through this. So you can see we've got a wet quali and a wet race. It's a bit worse in the race, but hopefully we can do well.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix. With the weather as it is today, Anthony Davidson, we have, to some extent, to throw the form book out of the window. Who do you see having the advantage on this slippery, unpredictable track surface?
Traditionally, these are very Adrian Newey conditions. The Red Bull's habit of creating incredible downforce coupled with the high rake they like to run is perfect for the wet, and it's helped them close the power gap a number of times over recent years. I think Force India as well, always a bit of a dark horse in changeable conditions, and of course the McLarens are a fairly good chassis. Having said that, I don't want to make a firm prediction. More than performance, the deciding factor is going to be the timing. The level of wetness out on the track is going to constantly rise and fall, and anyone who can find that perfect window when it's at its driest will have a big advantage out there.
So jumping straight into my last quali lap of Q1 as I lose the back end on the out lap. Cars on full beams, just trying to don't get the best run into that corner, but as I come out the corner I make up a hell of a lot of time because my first 2 laps were poor. See, I'm really struggling with the wet conditions. To get on the grass, lose a lot of time, lose the back end. Just still carrying on with the lap because I don't have much time.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
Lose the back end a bit there. A bit of a tank slapper to come down to third to last corner. Have a little bit of a screen freeze there. Not by 2 seconds on my last lap. Now I'll just go full beams to the line. And I'll go P15. Hopefully that's enough to get us out of Q1. As I'm in the car, as I fast forward the rest of the session. Hopefully I haven't done too badly. But as I fast forward I realised I should have gone out for another lap, but didn't have enough time as soon as I couldn't. And I come in at P19 and my teammate is in P12. So we've got a lot of work to do in the race, so let's hopefully we can do that. Yep. So as you can see, I'm losing the rivalry at this point with Perez. I only get a few resource points here. Lose rep with the team.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
New drivers, new cars, it's a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that plays host to round 1 of a 21-race championship that takes us from here in Australia across the globe and the eventual season finale at the Yas Island circuit in Abu Dhabi. We're a stone's throw from the enormous Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.3-mile Albert Park circuit. It's a bumpy racing surface here, and the 16 corners could prove especially difficult in the wet conditions. Watch out for a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix.
So as we see the lineup of the grid.
Once again,
Oh,
Anthony
not
Davidson
quite.
joins me for the race today, and it's a race where anything can happen as the rain is falling, grip and visibility is lacking. Could be something of a lottery out there, Ant.
Well, that's right. There's always an added element of unpredictability when there's standing water on the circuit. But one thing that might help him with the grip is a new softer compound full wet and intermediate tyre that Pirelli have developed for certain circuits. We'll be seeing these new tyres for the first time today, yet another unknown on an already unpredictable day.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Hülkenberg, Weber, Perez, Ricciardo, and Devon Butler. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Grosjean, Lando Norris, and Raikkonen, Albon, Russell, Robert Kubica, and Joker. Giovinazzi and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid.
So as
Now
Kvyat
it's
had
time to
a
head down to
penalty,
the
we've
track.
managed to move up to P18. Still not the greatest starting position.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to
As
come
we take out
out
the fuel of the car because we're in wet conditions. I don't need as much fuel as I would normally need in a race, so I take out quite a lot of fuel, but I don't take it as low as it will go. I just give myself that little bit extra so I can pump in some rich mix if I need to. And pull off the grid for the formation lap.
Okay, go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
So just gonna go around the rest of the formation lap. On the next episodes, I won't put the formation lap in. I'll just go to the end of the formation lap. Just see it on the first episode, on the first F1 episode. There's another screen freeze there. As I'm now playing on PC instead of PS4. The rain made it incredibly hard to see in the race and during this formation lap. It was really bad. Just reforming the grid now. So we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. We get a pretty poor start off the line, not much wheel spin, but the other cars just swung past as we come off the line, and Giovinazzi and Kvyat but get past us. But I go for a move down the inside, lose a touch of my front wing on Kubica. Kubica. Let's go round the outside of Albon.
You've taken some minor damage.
Go down the inside that turns to the outside of Kvyat after move out of the way, and Norris nearly lose another chunk of my front wing as Kvyat tries to go round the outside. We're up to P15 after the first few corners, not too bad. So now we've got to chase down Norris. Get on the curb a bit there, lose a little bit of traction. Try and go for a move round the outside of Norris. Norris keeps his foot in there though. I've had to pull out of that move and just stick behind Norris for the time being. As we come onto the straight, got a little bit more traction, but he pulled in front of me, so I've had to brake very harshly. Otherwise I'm going to lose the rest of my front
That's
wing.
a decent start. Good job.
Just playing with the fuel and the ERS deployment there a little bit. And now as I come forward a little bit on the end of this lap, we're just changing our front wing replacement to no. If it's on auto with the slightest bit of damage in this game, it decides to change the front wing, I've noticed. Try for a move down the inside of Norris. Had to brake extremely hard because Norris just pulled across the apex a little bit too much to come further into lap 2. Right on the back of Norris still. So as we come out the corner, get a lot better traction to go around the outside of Norris. Just keeping my foot in there. Have a little touch and having to pull to the inside of Kimi Raikkonen as he brakes a bit earlier. Just managed to make the corner. Get past Raikkonen as well.
That was very risky. We could have received a penalty.
Yeah, as I get a warning from Jeff for a little bit of contact that we made with Norris.
We're very low on fuel. Tried to shift up through the gears earlier. It may help save more fuel.
So now as we're chasing after Roman Grosjean, as we jump forward to when we're right on the back of Grosjean at the beginning of lap 4, as I get a very good exit out of the second corner. I had to back out of it there though, and just sit behind him for a little bit longer. And for another move there, had to kind of back out of it. It wasn't really a passing opportunity there. I just got a lot better traction, ended up down the inside, but don't want to risk losing the rest of our front wing unnecessarily. So we come onto this part of the lap where I overtook Norris. Grosjean just not giving me an opportunity to pass, just pulling in front of me at the wrong moment, making me have to think and brake very hard to come off this corner, get a lot better traction and get past Roman Grosjean.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
So now we've got to chase down Ricciardo. I'm going to try and get in the points this race. That is my aim, even if it's just 10th place, to jump forward to when we're quite close to the back rear end of Ricciardo. On all of these corners I'm getting a lot better traction in the air as I go around the outside, the same place I did to Norris. Managed to make the move work. I have to brake hard. Ricciardo gets me back briefly, but I get a lot better traction off the corner as he's on the curb, as he tried to stay on the outside of me. As we come through the S's, we skip forward to when I'm closer to the rear end of Perez. Get a lot better traction out of turn 2 and just breeze past him on the straight, even though we're in the same car. But I had a lot more traction off turn 2. Go very wide in turn 3 and have to sort of hope that he didn't go back down the outside. He didn't quite have enough traction to do so. As we come to the middle, midway through lap 9, going for a couple of moves on Butler here. Right on the rear end of him. Pull out to make an overtake as he pulls straight in front of me. I've had to slam on the brakes and get back into the throttle when he got far enough ahead. I dropped down a gear too many there, but we should get better traction and better power off this corner now.
Okay, battery's looking good. You can use overtake to get past.
So I'm going to put the battery up to high in a second to try and get past Butler. In the wet, putting it in overtake, which makes it incredibly hard to get off the corners. We're still low fuel, as you can see, running in lean in the rain. You don't really need anything more than that. As you can see at the moment, I have got the fastest lap and I am in the points. So if this stayed like this, I would get the extra point.
The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while.
As I go very wide into turn 1 and then compromises me into turn 2. We've got a yellow flag situation in this sector as Weber is going out of the race with a mechanical issue.
Some information on Weber. They've got a serious car issue.
So to jump forward as I drop back from Butler, I lost a bit of time to him, but we're catching up to him again. Let's see if we get past him this time as I'm right on his gearbox as we go through turn 3. Get a big slap of oversteer. We get another screen freeze and Butler's getting away from me now. I pushed too hard into the braking zone, go a bit deep, but managed to get back on the throttle at the right moment to pull the car back in. Just trying to push to catch Butler, go for a move, a bit half-hearted, wasn't going to really make anything happen there. I'd have damaged my car and probably taken him out in the same time. Don't really want to do that. I know he was a bit of an arse in F2, but in F1 I just want to try and finish the race as high up the grid as I can. No point taking silly risks like that. As you can see on the straight, with that Ferrari power, he is just getting away from me. But also I'm running my engine in a lot lower modes than he probably is. I just find it easier in the rain to drive on lower engine modes. I can still get that lap time. As you can see, we've still got a purple lap, so we're still looking at getting that extra point. I try and go for a move, he pulls in front of me, I pull to the outside, and I don't quite have enough room, so I've had to go deep into the corner. Still on his tail, go for a move around the outside, couldn't quite make that happen, so I stick it to the back of him. Miss a gear shift though, at the optimum time, which just compromises me that little bit too much for me to make the move stick. As I get a slap of oversteer, get on the grass. So we jump forward further into the race. Okay, so as we catch up to the back of Weber again, we go for a move down the inside, get better traction, and manage to make the move stick. We are now in P8, still got the purple lap, so hopefully we can keep that to the end of the race to get the extra point. So jump forward to where we're going to be making our pit stop. So hopefully we can jump some people in the pit stop phase as I go wide, end up on the grass. Butler's trying to have a look at me. We can't make anything of it as I peel off into the pits after having a tank slapper on that corner because I hit the curb. Pulling into the pits. Hamilton's also pulling into the pits. He really hasn't made up as much time as I thought he would have in this race. I thought he'd at least be in like P5, P4 by now, but obviously not. So we're going to pull into our pit box. Get a quick tyre change. No front wing. Minor damage. Don't really need to change it. It's not affecting me all that much. We're at the pits now. We're still in the points as we come out the pits. Made up a lot of time on Norris and people like that, so hit the curb. Doesn't affect us too much. I doubt we're going to catch Hamilton, so just stick behind him and hopefully he pulls us forward a bit as I get on the curb there. Get a tank slapper for my efforts. to come around the final corner of the lap. As 3 people are coming out of the pits. We managed to jump Hulkenberg in the pit stop phases. We are now in P7, best of the rest. So let's see if we can hold on to this position towards the end of the race and also hold on to that extra point for the fastest lap of the race. So on the final lap, I did lose the fastest lap a couple of times, but we've managed to gain it back on about 2 or 3 laps ago. So I'm just going to take you through the final lap of this Grand Prix. I'll let you listen to the engine and everything, so just sit back and enjoy the sounds. As you can see, I'm in sort of no man's land here. No one's catching up to me and I'm not catching
There's only
Hamilton.
1 lap of fuel remaining.
As we come through the final few corners of the lap, we are going to take P7 and the fastest lap point, which is awesome. But the whole thing from the sort of where I overtook Hulkenberg was just me driving behind Hamilton, couldn't get near him to pass him, so it was literally just no man's land for me.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's review the drivers' standings. After today's performance, Valtteri Bottas secures the championship lead. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Joker. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
As you can see, I'm 1 point behind Hamilton at the moment. That ain't going to last very long, but we did very well in the race, as you can see the rest of the field. And there we are in the constructors. We are P4, best of the rest.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
If you need to see these, just pause the video.
How do you think you'll be feeling about not finishing? You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you? You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today? Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay then guys, so after that race you can see that we're going to be leading the rivalry against Perez now. by 1 point. Quali wasn't my strong suit there, but the race was really good. Let me know if you need me to if you want me to up or down the difficulty based on what's obviously you've seen today. Qualifying I did absolutely abysmal, but in the race I think I really picked it up and showed what I can do. As you can see, I'm just going up everywhere there.
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
Okay, so if we look at the dashboard, you can see that we've got the same thing as last year.
Emails like the one I've just sent you will give you an insight on how your former Formula 2 rivals are handling the press. Be sure to check your emails regularly, as I'll be sure to send you any of the more, let's say, interesting press transcripts that come my way. Looks like one of your rivals has also been invited to a historical event. This could be a good opportunity to play up your rivalry for the press and expand your reputation.
Okay, so we're looking through the emails now. Carl just telling us what happened in the race. If you want to have a read, pause it. And obviously we've got the scripts from the other drivers, our rivals from F2. If you need to read these again, pause the video. I won't leave these clips in as long next time, so just pause the video if you want to read anything that they've said about me or what I've said about them. Okay guys, so to jump in, I'm just going to do one quick upgrade before we leave this episode. I believe it was a durability upgrade, just gives everything 10% extra wear, because this season I've seen from other people that it just takes, the engines aren't as good as they were last year. So I did that. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.